5, 6, 7. It's a mess. Oh, it's a mess.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. Join us as we dive into this week's mess.
Oh, it's a mess. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to It's a Mess, Sis, my favorite podcast. I'm Jess, working through the mess, and I am so glad you came back to hang out with us again.
And hey, everybody, it's Rena. And I'm going to just say this. If there's anybody who's going to read me for filth, it's going to be me. That's how I know I'm in sync. It's going to be me. No. Oh, no.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Thank you.
It took me a minute to get it. It's gonna be me.
Hey. So,
that's awesome. Well, you guys are joining us for episode 76, Breaking Chains, Generational Curses or Generational Traumas. So this is going to be a really interesting episode. I feel like it's going to go fairly deep, but it'll still be light and humorous because that's who we are. But before we get into the episode, we do have a little segment called What's the Mess? So I'm going to ask Rena, what's your mess?
So my mess is, I told y'all about my car, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And I had the car battery.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you this, the mess is that my life isn't really that much of a mess.
Okay, that's good.
But just I don't know if it's like Twitter versus, 52 or something like that. When your life is going well, your car decides to act up. So that's what I'm feeling.
Okay.
And so I got a new battery for the car, but then I noticed I got an alignment for the car. I'm putting money into the car.
Right.
Of course, my extended warranty is like, deuces,
Right.
we can't help you anymore. And the car is like, oh, but I'm not well.
Now.
Help. So I took it in for an alignment. They were like, yeah, you need a new rack and pinion. I was like, nah, I ain't doing that. So I think I told y'all about that. So I take it to the dealership because I'm trying to be fancy. I'm like, well, I got money now. I could treat the car well. Let's take you to the dealership. Right? These niggas came back and said, oh, yeah, you need a new transmission. I was at work. I had to take a seat. I sat down. I said, okay, what? He was like, yeah, you need a whole new transmission. I was like, okay. I was like, and that's why the car was just suddenly shifting to the left and to the right while I was driving. He was like, yeah. He was like the transmission, sends energy or whatever to the wheels to the whole car. So I guess it's been malfunctioning and then
sending it to the wrong wheels, sending it to the left,
when you're shifting the gears, it's like, so I was I said, well, how long do I have to drive this? I'm like, what's the prognosis? How long does it have? And he was like, I wouldn't drive this. So of course I'm still driving it. But anyway, I'm gonna tell you why I'm still driving it, right? Because I was like, okay, so what does this mean? A new transmission? I'm like, okay, the car's a 2013 Maxima. I'm like, okay, what is it? He's like, oh yeah, that's gonna be $7,500. I said,
you could get a whole nother car.
I said the car ain't even worth but $6,700. What are you talking about? He's like, yeah. I was like, that's it? That's the only option? I feel like I've been saying that a lot. That's it? Right. That's the only option?
Right.
He's like, yeah. And so that's when I asked him how long I had to drive on it. He's like, I wouldn't. And I was like, but it start up though, right? And he was like, yeah, sorry, I'm gonna come get that car real quick.
That's hilarious.
I've been driving it like that. So I just be going with the shift. When it start to go, I go over there. I go where it go. When it dip, you dip, I dip, we dip.
Just like that.
It's like that, so I still been driving it.
Wow, Rena!
I don't go long distances. I just go up the street to work, and I work at a hospital. So if worst case,
oh my god, you're so fucking dramatic. She said worst case
dramatic
scenario.
Or just I'm planning. You know?
Wow.
I'm not planning. That's not my intention. Cancel that. Cancel what I just said.
Jesus. What about a new car? Or
that's what I've been thinking about. So apparently I have a free circulator bus that takes me up to work and it'll take me back here to the apartment.
Hey.
And so when I asked them, I said, well, how much for you to take this off my hands? Because I don't even want to come pick up this bitch. Right. They were like, oh, we'll give you $2,500 for it. I was like,
for the car?
Yeah. I was like, okay. And I wouldn't have to pay car insurance and I wouldn't have to, pay to park in the garage. So I pay $145 just to park in the garage monthly.
Yeah.
I was like, But then also I went on CarMax too because I'm like, let me see. I like options. CarMax was
Yeah.
like, we'll give you 3,500 if you didn't
Okay.
lie to me. And I'm like, well, I didn't intentionally lie. So just don't plug it into nothing. It'll be exactly what I told you it is.
That's fucking hilarious.
And I mean, they didn't ask me about transmission.
Right.
So if you don't, that's not my fault. You ain't asked.
Right.
So I'm thinking about selling it and just being carless. Now, which
Okay.
it gives me a little pause because my dream or my goal was to live in my car, like just travel the world and live in it.
I
So
mean, but
like,
you
I
have a
feel
whole
like
new
I'm
lease
selling my
now.
home.
I mean, but you have a new lease now. You can save that 145. You can save the car insurance, which is what, like two something maybe. That's $300 right there that you're saving every month. Put that $300 away for next year. You can get you a little down payment. You can buy a little car. You know, that's what $4,000 plus the 3,500 you gonna get. That's 7,000 right there. You can go buy
Damn,
you a
wait a
little.
minute, wait, this math.
Okay, I just rounded way up
Wait,
because I got you $3,000. Okay, so I said if you save it $300 a month, that's 3,000 plus 2 more months of that's 36. Yeah, that's 3,600. Then you
uh-huh.
gonna turn it into CarMax. They're gonna give you 35. Yeah, I was right. That's $7,000.
Okay.
That's
I see the math.
actually 7,100. Go
Okay.
buy you a. I bought a box truck for 4,000. I think it was 3,000 or $4,000.
When you say you bought a box truck, like
Yeah, like
a
a little
like a U-Haul,
like a movie. Yeah.
you want to move
Yeah.
it, a move it, and
Yes.
lived
And we
in it.
turned it into an RV. Yes, you know this. But
I didn't know it was a moving van. I thought it was just an RV. Okay.
no, it was a box truck that we converted. We built our stairs, built our bed, built a closet, put a little piece in there for the kitchen. Like it's doable. You'll have $7,000. Save that shit for real. Act like you're still paying it. You'll have your $7,000. By the time your lease is up, you got somewhere to go.
I
Look at that.
mean, yeah. Like, and I've considered that too.
Yeah.
But then also I found a Subaru I like. So
Ooh, such a gay.
right, it just called
Mhm.
to me. It's like
Lesbian. I'm
lesbian.
fucking weak. Uh-huh.
So I'm a see. If I'm
Okay.
thinking I'm gonna sell it, I'm thinking on it.
Okay.
Like
About
I
time,
felt,
huh?
yeah, I felt good about selling it. Like when he
Okay.
told me about the transmission, I'm like, that ain't no problem. Y'all can have it. You
Yeah.
know. And then when I saw that Subaru, I was like, should I get another car? So like the whole thing isn't really about getting rid of the Maxima at this point. It's like, do I
Yeah.
want another vehicle?
Yeah.
Because the idea of just having that money sitting in my account is very alluring to me. Like I feel better. And if there's anybody listening who wants to chime in and be like, yes, girl, I feel better when I have money in my account. Like
Yes.
just like thousands. Like
Yes.
not just 1,000. That's not enough. I need several thousands. At
Yes.
least three.
At least.
At least
Is this
4,
in your
5.
savings or this is in your
It would be in a
regular
high yield
checking?
savings, of course.
Come on, high yield savings, of course.
Yes, I mean, I want
Okay.
at least a
I didn't know
2%
if you meant
return.
you had to have that in your checking and you need some other thousands. And I
No,
was like,
I
wow,
just need it in my savings, but if I would like for it to be in my checking too, universe, if,
absolutely.
I would
Crazy.
love that actually.
Absolutely.
But yes, I want money in my checking and my savings
Yeah,
and my
absolutely.
investment accounts and my retirement accounts. I want money everywhere.
Everywhere.
Every
Absolutely.
fucking where.
Absolutely.
In my pocket, in
Absolutely.
my safe, in my shoe,
Just
in my
everywhere I
bra,
look, money. Money,
everywhere.
money, money, money.
So
I feel
that's
you.
that's my mess. So that's where I'm
Okay.
gonna leave it. There's a lot more, but that's the
That's
main
where you'll
mess.
leave it for now. Well,
Yeah.
that's good though. I mean, I feel like even in fucked up situations, there's always another like avenue to not just stay in the fucked up situation, and I think
You know,
that's dope.
I think with all the messes that I've had, because I feel like I hop on here and I complain a lot, and I don't really mean to. It's really just my life be like that. So,
Hell no. Uh-huh.
but like, it's just amazing to me how calm I am when things happen. Like when he told me
Yeah.
7,500, I was like, I said, okay, and I was like, I'll just try the bus and see how I feel.
Yeah.
And like I don't the surrender I had to it. Like when I
Yeah.
was telling people, yeah, my car needs a new transmission, people were like, oh my gosh, why are you so calm? And I'm like, I don't know, like the universe wants me to release it.
Exactly. This is amazing, Rita. Honestly, I feel like in these moments with your messes in recent times, I feel like the podcast is doing its work. Because we just be like, It is what it is. You know, grace and ease, my nigga. Grace and
Really.
ease.
I'm like, what can I do about it? I'm not putting
Literally.
$7,500 in this car, and they're willing to give me 3,500. And then I was like, if I calculate and say I've had it for 3 years and I bought it
Mhm.
cash, so I don't owe anything on it.
That's
So
amazing.
say I was able to find a rental at a fantastic price for 365 days. Let's say it was like $25 for a rental a day.
Mhm.
Like that's like $9,000.
Right.
So like that is not much more than what I paid for the car, and I've had the car for 3 years. So
Yeah.
I just feel like I've gotten my money's worth with the vehicle, and if I
That's
can
awesome.
get some money back,
That's amazing.
now I have to pay car insurance, and like you said, now I have to pay for parking, and I have to pay for gas.
Yeah.
It
Why not?
why
Yeah.
not? That's more money
Right.
in my pocket. I'm not really losing anything because that money's spent already. Like it's
Yeah.
gone. I paid for the car, it's gone. And when
Yeah.
I feel like I'm ready to get a car, I'll just probably, like I said, have that money, save
Mhm.
some money, and
Yeah.
buy something else. I don't want a car note.
Period.
I don't want to be bound to anything like that. I don't want to be bound
Yeah.
or indebted to anybody long term. If
Yeah.
I can't buy it outright, goddamn, I'm not buying it anymore. I'm
I
tired of
love
paying
that.
interest.
I love that.
So, yeah, so
That's
we'll
dope.
see.
What a
Yeah.
lovely mess.
Thank you. Thank you. I
Welcome.
try. When I have mess, I try to make it, wonderful and
Lovely.
beautiful, appealing. Like, don't you want a
Yeah.
mess like mine?
I'm
Huh?
weak. Don't you want a mess like mine? You're silly. You're silly.
But what about you, ma'am? What's your
Um, my mess is that I woke up late today. I
Oh gosh, I
overslept.
thought you were gonna say that I woke up. I was like, bitch, you sound like me.
I'm
Hey,
weak.
ho.
That's hilarious. No, I overslept today. And I feel like my days are starting to feel like they're running together. And because of that, I know that means it's time for rest. Like I need
Ah,
like
yeah.
genuine, real
I
rest.
could have told you
But
that.
I've got so much coming up the
I
next
need
2 weeks.
rest, but I'm gonna do a whole lot of shit.
I have to like there's just shit I have to do in the next. So
Yeah.
I'm moving in the next 2 weeks. I
Ooh,
don't
ooh.
have the place that I'm moving, but I am moving. So
That's okay.
it's like I'm gonna have to pack. I'm gonna have to. There's a lot of shit that I have to do in the next 2 weeks. I need a
Hmm.
new car also. Um, it's just a lot. And so it's like I know I need rest. I have some like my brain is like not sharp. And it's
Yeah.
because I need rest and I need
Yeah.
more water and I need to meditate and I need to do all these things. And so it's like I'm ready to get into my new space
Hmm.
so that I can do all these things, so that I
Hmm.
can just fully rest and breathe and meditate. That's something that I feel like I need to do and really just kind of find my way. Because right now I feel like I've been kind of bumbling along for the last couple years,
Hmm.
and there's some things that I've kind of grabbed a hold of and like followed that path. But like overall, I feel like I've been just kind of like tumbleweeding it.
Hmm.
And I feel like I need some direction. So yeah, all in all, I need some rest and I'll get it in a little bit.
It's
that's 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 my mess.
just
It's
gotta
a
hold
mess.
on for 2 more weeks.
Hold on for 2 more weeks. That's what I'm praying. Hold on 2 more weeks. Because even after this, like I have several more things to do today. I need to work also in between those other several things. So it's like a lot. But it's going to be okay.
It is.
And that's the mess of it. Sometimes you're able to get the full rest that you need, and sometimes you're like, hold on, help is on the way. Hold on. So that's where I am right now.
Okay. Rest is
Yeah.
coming. Rest is
It's
coming.
coming. Yeah. Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah, but anyway, back to episode 76, breaking chains, generational traumas or curses.
Hmm.
Um so the next thing we talk about is why we did this episode.
Mhm.
I was actually given this topic, or we were given this topic by one of my favorite people. And I really think it's so fitting because it's something that affects all of us.
Mhm.
But it's not something that we talk about like often. It's not one of
True.
those things that we really just kind of explore fully. So I
Mhm.
thought it was really dope. Why
Mhm.
did you agree to this?
Because the people requested it,
Come
you know?
on. Yes.
Um, and I feel like I like the whole generational curse angle, and
Okay.
it's Halloween, so I felt like
Okay.
that was giving vibes. And also because I feel like the topic is fitting. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I've been processing this lately.
Hmm.
And I feel like it's something that I need to have an awareness of and an understanding of for myself at this point in my journey,
Yeah.
because it plays a factor in
Hmm.
how I move and how I operate in life. So
Absolutely.
that's why.
I love that.
This is a great
Now,
topic. Thank you, whoever, Jess's favorite person, one of them that
one of my
suggested
favorite
this. Thank
people.
you. And please, people, please help us and keep suggesting topics.
Yes, we love it. It's a beautiful thing to know what you guys would like to hear about or for us to discuss. Now let's let the people know what the agenda is for the episode.
The agenda, as always, is the DIC, which stands for Define, Impact, and Cope. So, this conversation, we are defining what the term generational curse, means to us, what Google says it is, and possibly, if we're feeling up to it, identify a curse that
Mm,
we are dealing with personally, then discuss the impact of these curses on our lives and how we intend to cope. Another thing I'd like to note is that we make sure that we make each section clearly known. So throughout the episode, you'll hear just say, we're at the definition, impact, or cope. So that'll give you time to pause, process, ask questions, jot things down. Just do what you need to do to work this out along with us if you choose to do so.
mhm.
That's it. Yeah, I know. I switched
Okay.
that up.
You
I
did.
switched
I was
that
like,
up. I
okay,
changed it.
okay,
I made it a
okay.
little to the point.
Come on, more succinct. All
Yes.
right. Well,
Thank you for condensing that and making that more to the point.
of course, I do what I can. We are now to the definition. Okay. So I looked up generational trauma.
Hey, okay. I was
And
gonna
so,
ask that. I was like, is there a
yeah,
difference between generational trauma or generational curses? Or are we just pretty much
I don't know. That's something we could probably
true?
discuss
Okay.
and see how we feel at the end.
Okay.
So generational trauma is trauma that isn't just experienced by one person. It extends from one generation to the next. It
Hmm.
can be silent, covert, and undefined, surfacing through nuances and inadvertently taught or applied throughout someone's life from an early age onward. Trauma affects genetic processes, leading to traumatic reactivity being heightened in populations who experience a great deal of trauma. The symptoms of generational trauma may include hypervigilance, a sense of shortened future, mistrust, aloofness, high anxiety, depression, panic attacks, nightmares, insomnia, a sensitive fight or flight response, and issues with self esteem and self confidence. It may lead to a dysfunctional immune system, one that's either too active or not active enough. This can result in more autoimmune diseases or a greater propensity for illnesses.
I'm gonna tell you something.
Tell me.
And this ain't related, but it is.
Okay.
They really need to hire you to read off the side effects for pharmaceutical medications. Cause the way you just read off the side effects of generational trauma, I was like, I feel like I need a prescription.
That's hilarious.
Like,
Yeah.
but yes,
Yeah.
yes to all
Yeah.
of that. I was like,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
okay,
Well, so that's the definition.
yes.
And when I read all of those things, I was in awe, honestly, because that's a lot. That's a lot. It's a lot. There was more in there, and I didn't want to like overwhelm the definition part, but there's a lot of like, stuff that happens in embryo when you are in your mother's
Yeah.
womb, the traumas that she's experiencing, you are also experiencing. So before you even set foot on this planet in life form, you are already enduring some of these traumas and things like that. So I was just like, wow, I was kind of in shock and kind of in awe. And I knew some of this because, my major in school was biology. And so I have some understanding, but just, I guess, seeing it like worded this way was just like, damn,
So that's why, like on Twitter, when we see those babies that just look already through with the world,
they're tired.
they tired already. They're
They're
like,
really
I don't even
tired.
want to come out for this.
You said,
I
what?
it's traumatic in here
It's traumatic in here. You want me to come out and
in the
deal with this
womb.
shit more? Absolutely not.
They come out,
Yeah.
they already got an attitude with people.
Listen, they're tired. Your mama been eating hot Cheetos and Takis all goddamn pregnancy. Ain't gave you one vegetable. I don't know why I said vegetable like
Vegetable.
that. Vegetable. One time that reminds me. This is totally off topic and very ADHD of us or me.
Yeah, I'm about
But
to say, just to keep that to yourself.
that's hilarious. Shut up, because you about to go there with me. So that's
Yeah,
why
I
I want to
will.
say. One time we was visiting my grandmother and my friends came. It was my birthday and my grandma wanted to take me out for breakfast. So I was like, oh, my friends want to come. She was like, okay. So we're all riding. And she was talking about something. She was like, oh yeah, and something in the vegetables. And my best friend talking about what they say? What was it? She said it again. The vegetables. It was great. It was a
Mm.
maybe you had to be there experience, but we're like
Well,
the
you
worst
channel
cook.
grandma just now.
I did. She wanted to come through this
Uh
conversation,
huh.
talk about generations and shit.
Uh huh.
Okay, what was your definition? I've been talking a lot.
Um, so my definition, I went with generational curses, and I'm kind
Okay.
of treating it as one and the same, trauma and curses. So I said it's cyclical trauma that we have
Mm.
inherited from previous generations that we have absorbed through conditioning and exposure that we carry with us and impact our lives.
Boom.
So I feel like that's pretty much what Google said.
Yeah.
Um, it's not really, it is yours because it's like the baton just kept getting passed,
Yeah.
but it's not really like
It's not a direct
yours.
experience.
Yeah, it's something like, yeah, you inherit it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's genetic trauma.
It is. I did see when I was looking up stuff that it said like this will continue to be passed down unless you deal with it. And I
Right.
was like, fuck. Because there's so much. Like, I mean, in these passages that I've been looking at, it's definitely talking about larger, traumas that have happened to large populaces of people. So, African Americans in slavery or the Jewish community in the Holocaust and all of those kind of like things, or people who've been victims of war. Their
Mhm.
their their families have been victims of like war, multi generation or multi year wars, and in those kind of things.
Mhm.
Um, but it's also just like 3 generations back. Your grandmama had something happen to your grandmama, and then your mama, and then now your ass is dealing with it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's
Mhm.
greater and larger, and it's just all the things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're pretty
We're.
much saying that curses and trauma, that's the same. We're just gonna kind of
I feel like yes,
I feel like we see it as a curse,
we do
you
because it
know.
is.
Yeah.
Because
But
like,
like
why
I
am I
don't
dealing
think
with some shit that? Because I mean, if you think about the
right.
curses, even if you're thinking about in the Disney Channel, when it's like a curse was placed upon you at
Mhm.
birth. Like, bitch, I didn't do shit to deserve the
Right.
curse. My parents didn't invite you to the fucking party. Now you putting a curse on me and shit. Like,
Right.
what? That's
Yeah.
fucked up.
Like
That
your
doesn't have nothing to do with
firstborn.
me. Your
Right.
firstborn, like, you promised me away and I wasn't even here. That's fucked up. Now I'm over here in the whatever it is, type shit.
So
So
yeah. Okay.
similar,
So
I think.
yeah, no, I agree. I just want
Yeah.
to make sure,
Yeah.
that,
That we're
and I
kind of the
hope,
same.
yeah, and I hope that, the person who suggested the topic, because I couldn't recall if they use curse or trauma. They use
They
trauma?
said they said pain. I actually looked at it,
Pain.
generational
Oh, my
pain.
bad.
And then I interpret that to trauma. Because
And I
trauma
think I
is
just hear
pain.
people talking about curses. I feel like we say curse instead of trauma because I feel like when we say it's a curse, it's like a
Church.
whimsical thing.
It's more of a spiritual thing. When I
Yeah, like
think about
I guess that's
generational
what I'm saying.
curses, I think about in the form maybe because, of course my upbringing is in the church, but a lot of those things they would be talking about, it would be like I mean, you're absolutely right. It is the same though, because they would be talking about like drug addiction, or they would be talking about like a lot of times it would be stuff like that. Like, oh, your daddy did this, and you know what I'm saying? So yeah,
But
I think it's one and the same.
I feel like I feel like I hear so many people calling it a curse versus trauma. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel like a curse it comes off as this whimsical thing. It's like, well, I can't really do anything about that. But trauma is
Mm,
something that's, I mean, people can still think with trauma, they don't have to do anything about it. But I feel like trauma is more like in the present and something that you can tackle. Like there's some way that you can face it or
tangible way
deal
to
with it.
do
Yeah,
it.
a tangible way to deal with it. Whereas a curse is just more kind of like, it's just this thing that somebody whispered over our family years ago, and there's nothing we can do about it. That's how I see it when we say curse instead of trauma. Because trauma implies that we can heal
Mm.
from it, and a curse implies that we need some type
Mm.
of witch or
Oh,
priestess to free us of
wow.
it. That's
You
just the way
might
I
be
interpret it.
right. Yeah. I mean, I also think that language has been changing in these last recent years. Like,
True,
we
true,
weren't
true,
talking
true.
about traumas like that. It wasn't such a prevalent like term that I heard in general, but I think you
Mhm.
do have a point. I think there's a lot of things that we have given up on and say, well, this just runs in my family,
Yeah.
instead of saying, well, what can I do to make it not run in the family anymore, type shit. So you're absolutely right. There's an accountability piece that it's easier to kind of hands up about it, because it's like, oh, this just what it
Yeah.
is, kind of thing. If it's a curse, you're absolutely right.
Right.
Okay, so now are we to the impact, or do you have more questions?
Well, I have more questions or more discussions in this piece a little bit.
Okay.
Like, I was just gonna ask in general, like, how do you feel about I feel like in like our generation and like the newer generations, there is such a strong emphasis on like combating these generational traumas or curses.
Okay.
Like there's just like this it feels like there's this defiance. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's like we're taking a stand and we're like, nah, we got to do something about this. We can't
Mhm.
keep this going. And
Mhm.
there's just so much focus and attention on analyzing this. Like, what do you
Okay.
think of that? What do you think that stems from? Because I feel like I didn't hear about my mom talking about I'm combating generational curses, or my grandmother talking about it. But here I am, like, man, I gotta fight these generational demons. This stuff they done passed on to me. This ain't mine, but I got to deal with it. And we have all these memes and things where
Mhm.
people got crystals and sage, and like just me crying to the universe because I gotta be the one to fight the generational curse.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
mean, I think we have more leeway to do that
Yes,
as women
absolutely.
and as
Oh,
people in general, people of color. I think we are in an age where we have more mental capacity to think outside of ourselves. Like, a lot
yeah.
of shit was just work, 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 make the money, take care of the kids, and so it was harder to be able to step outside of yourself and like have space and room. We're just now in a generation where we're like, I'm not working to death. You know what I'm saying? But that one generation ago, it's like, you work and give them everything and then you can retire. And so, you have a different thought process, and we have the luxury of being able to stop and think for a minute and say, yo, I don't like that pattern. You know what I'm saying? And so
Hmm.
there's that, but there's also some people did it in their own ways. I know my mom had, and I'm going to actually talk about that in my impact. My mom had some things that she grew up with, and she made conscious choices to not do that anymore. And I think that, maybe they didn't talk about it in the ways that we talk about it, but some people or some parents were doing the work. They didn't have the language, and maybe they didn't have the opportunity to sit and do it for themselves only. Maybe they just tried to affect change in their children first. um, a lot of us are realizing that it starts with us, and then we can let that trickle down. But I think some of our parents maybe started with us, and sometimes it looks different, and it may not have been the best, or it may not have been the right way, but there's a lot of things that I think that the generation before us did do, but it's so much and it's so massive if
Well,
we really think about the amount of trauma that's been lopped on us and we haven't healed from. We can go back to slavery, we can go back being stolen, we can go back to being sold, we can go back to all these other traumas that have just trickled down, and there's never been any real process or healing, and we're just piling new traumas on top of it. So while we
well,
are doing this kind of work, it is a lot, and our kids
I
and the
agree.
generations after us will keep having to, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't think that they haven't been doing the work. I just think
Yeah.
like maybe we're just the loudest ones. We're just more vocal. I
Yeah.
think we're just like, like
We're
like you
tired.
yeah, we're like, we gotta deal with this. And maybe that's just it. Like they were dealing with it in their way,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the capacity they had to deal with it. Because we do have more space to self-actualize. So maybe that's
Yeah.
it. That self-actualization is leading to being more vocal, which, hopefully will cause an impact and like kind of just, have it make sure that it's continued, that we're always
Right.
striving to be better versions of the generation before us, to keep
Yeah.
evolving.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just feel like so many people are just kind of there's a resentment with it. And now when you mention
Mm.
it, like, or at least that's the way I interpret it. So when you mention it, like, you feel like our parents and the generations before us, they were working on it.
Mhm.
Um, And, like, I wonder if they had that resentment. I just feel like they didn't have the platform or the voice maybe that we had. So,
Yeah.
I just wonder if they got as tired as we did. It never seemed like it, but it didn't seem like it.
I mean,
Maybe they didn't have room to be tired. They just had to do it.
Yeah, because I think about myself even when I
I'm
was
tired,
younger
but yeah.
and the amount of energy that I could give to trying to shake up what is the status quo of society. My protesting and my, advocation for certain things. And now that I'm older, just being like, I'm tired. And not that I don't want to do it, but seeing your efforts and your energy go into something that is a continual sameness. And I imagine that, even the generation before them, they're trying to come and say, hey, this is wrong, and being shot down or being shut down. Eventually, you fall in line. Unfortunately, a lot of times, especially if there's no outlet. Like now, we have so many resources. We can reach out to people. We can create advocate groups for ourselves. We have other people that will stand with us. We know our voice is not alone. But imagine having no social media and feeling like you are the only voice saying, this is not right to be beating your children, and everybody looking at you, girl, you better train a child, spare the rod, spoil the child type shit. And gentle parenting wasn't a thing, you know. People looked at my mama crazy. Not to say we
Mm.
didn't get no whippings, because we did, but it was different how she did it. So she was just one notch under other people's idea of discipline. So we have the voice now. We have the idea that we're not alone. And so that makes it easier to keep going. But imagine you feeling like your voice is going into the void and nothing's changing because we're
Okay.
tired.
Yeah. It's just,
Excuse me.
I'm glad you brought that up, the fact that, like, every generation deals with this.
Yeah.
Because I think, you know, it's easy for us in this time of social media to feel like we're the only generations dealing with this. Like, "Oh, they
Hmm.
didn't deal with it before, it's just us."
Yeah.
But no, it's really we have that platform and we have more space
Yeah.
than they did, probably because of their work. Um,
Absolutely.
so I feel like we're just complaining like, "Oh, you left me with your generational curses."
Yeah.
But
And they're like, we did our best.
I didn't really think that, my mom dealt with it too.
Mm.
And yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So that leads me to my
Okay.
next question, which
Okay.
probably can lead us into the impact. Is like, do you have a certain like trauma or curse that you feel like you're currently combating that you feel like it's like your assignment here on your journey?
Ooh. Let me think on that.
Okay.
I'm gonna go through the impacts that I have,
Because it's
and then
probably
do
in
I?
there.
It probably is. Let me just. Yeah.
Shoot.
Is there something that I'm? Okay, I'm gonna chew on that while I tell you guys my impact. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. Because
Okay.
I can just bring mine into my impact. So it's cool.
Are you saying you want to just tell yours? Is
No,
that what?
you
Oh.
do you first.
Okay. I'm very confused. What's happening now, Rena?
Just go.
Okay, wonderful. Okay.
Impact.
In the impacts in my own life, I saw how things affected my family, from food insecurity to
Mm,
self-esteem issues.
mhm,
So my paternal grandmother, which is my dad's mom, was raised during the Great Depression, and
mhm,
food was a scarcity. Right.
mhm,
So when she raised her kids, her children, that was kept in mind when feeding them, including never throwing away food, even if it was spoiled a little bit or the sell by date, and also making sure not to waste anything. That trickled down to my father, who then raised us to never waste food, which ultimately led to me overeating for most of my childhood.
mhm,
Right. So my mom suffered from self esteem issues on account of her complexion. She was a very fair skinned woman, and she
mm.
received a lot of bullying on that account when she moved down south.
Oh,
Um, and that led to her never feeling beautiful, as she was an amazingly beautiful woman, but she never felt that way. And in turn, when she had me, she made sure to instill in me how beautiful I was. Right.
mm, mm,
So I think both my parents were lessons on how we handle things that are passed down to us. The
mhm,
first is my mom acknowledging and being able to recognize the things that affected her and doing something different in me.
mm,
And then my dad, for all his good intentions, didn't recognize that making us overeat was a product of his upbringing and not a healthy thing to pass down.
mm,
So um, there are a lot of things that, and even I think about punishment, right? So when my mom was raising us, her and my dad made a pact to never whoop us without having a conversation first about what we had done wrong. Now, I don't know if we're still in the age of like where beating your kids is just totally taboo. But in that generation, beating your kids was just the status quo, right? And
Mhm.
so for her, it was just another step to say, like, we're not just gonna be doing this willy-nilly just because we're mad. We're going to take a second to calm down. We're not going to beat them when we're angry. If we're angry, we take a beat and then we come and talk to them and say, do you know why you're getting this punishment? And that was my upbringing. Still got whoopings, but it was always a conversation to say, this is what you've done wrong. Do you understand that? And us being like, yes, or being able to, give an understanding of where we're coming from. There were also a lot of like second chances that we were given. Like my dad would be like, we'd be like, Dad, can we have a second chance? Daddy, Daddy, can we have a second chance? And he was very soft. So he would be like, okay, we got like 10,000
Mm.
chances on that second chance tip. But those are
Mhm.
the things that I feel like my parents put into place in me. But, that food insecurity
Mm.
passed down to me. And because of that, like I said, I overate a lot as a child. And then growing up, I would never throw away leftovers. If somebody asked me did I want their leftovers, I was like, yeah. Like I'm in the fucking Great Depression and I don't know where my next fucking meal's gonna come from, but I always had food. I
Mm.
always had food, but food scarcity or food insecurity was passed down to me as if I'm in the Great Depression because grandmother to son to my
Mhm.
dad to me, and now I'm holding on to these ideas that food is scarce, but it literally has never been. Like when I think over my life, that is the one thing that I always had an abundance of. But because of that, that was passed down to me, and it had been a struggle for a really long time, and now I don't have that same. I had to really work at it. I recognized that that was a situation where I was like, why am I doing this? You know what I mean? Because it was
Mhm.
like, don't we don't waste food. That was like
Mhm.
geared
So
into us. We don't waste food. We don't waste food type shit. And then my mom's issue with the complexion and all of that, that I think trickled down obviously from a larger slavery
mhm.
standpoint, and her being fair skinned and that being seen as like something really good or to be praised, especially she was born, and raised in the 60s and stuff. And so, but when she got to the South, because that was the mindset, then she received a lot of backlash, like, oh, you think you're better, but she was just not that type of person. So then that trickled down into her mentality of what it meant to be beautiful and things like that. And I
Mhm.
think she recognized and stopped and was like, no, I'm gonna whatever my child looks like, color wise. And she would always be saying what she thought was beautiful, and it was a range of beautiful women. It was never any certain type of color. I saw all women as beautiful, and specifically dark skinned women, because she said she wanted me to be dark skinned her whole life. And I think that was a product of her trauma, wanting me to be opposite of what she was,
Mhm.
type shit. So I just, there's a lot of things that were passed down, and I think right now a lot of what I deal with currently is financial insecurity, and
Yeah.
that has been passed down to me, and it's something that still affects me to this day. There's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of anxiety around money, there's a lot of anxiety around working or making sure I have enough. And that's one of
So
the things I can say has trickled down that I still deal with now.
so that whole like lack mentality,
Yeah.
really, and even
Hmm.
stemming from the food, right?
Yes.
You kind of want to make sure you have that financial stability so that
So you
you
can
can
eat.
have food stability,
Yeah.
housing stability. So you're
Yeah.
literally actively going against the grain and kind of just living in this fear
Yeah.
that your parents have had of where you gonna live, how you gonna
Yeah.
eat,
Yeah.
and you're like, I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna do it. Like, I believe that there's more. Like, I'm not just
Right.
gonna take scraps, I'm not gonna settle.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're actively fighting this idea of lack. And
Whew.
I keep bending down because my dog
Wyatt.
feels like he lacks my attention.
That's fucking hilarious. He probably do.
He does, he absolutely does. He's correct. He is fighting that curse for himself and his litter mates.
Oh, fucking weak. Uh-huh.
But yeah, so okay, so you're if you had to pick a kind of curse that you're dealing with, it's like this lack narrative. Like you're
Yes.
not gonna have enough that stemmed
Yes.
from the depression.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I just took it to my parents and the things that I was raised in, but you're absolutely right. It does stem from a greater lack, a greater lack that
Just
was
lack in
actually
general.
a
Yeah.
legitimate lack. Like there was not enough food.
Even before that,
Even before that.
being the
That's true.
product of slavery, like, shoot,
Yeah.
everybody's always talking about Black people, what we lack.
Yeah.
Oh, we've been disconnected from our culture. We, lack the ability to read and educate ourselves and all this.
Yeah.
It's just so much has been withheld from us. We've lacked so much.
Yeah.
So now you're kind of trying to go out there and get what you was lacking
Yeah. I'm trying
and
to
believe,
and believe in the fact that there is more and
unless you
rest in
already
that
have more.
and that I have more and that, you know, it is an abundant place that I live in.
And
Not
you can have an
just
abundant life, and you
I
are
can have an
having
abundant life,
an
and I
abundant
do
life.
have an abundant life. Yeah, but it's hard though.
It
I'm not
is.
gonna lie. Like every time there is a decision around money, I have to breathe. I have to do the things that we talk about on this podcast. I have to give myself grace. I have to give myself ease. I
Mhm.
have to breathe in and say, whew, okay, okay, you've been taken care of thus far. Look at the patterns, and not just fall into this old idea of like, oh, just a fear just overtakes me. And so it's definitely something that I have to work through.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay.
What
And I
about
see that
you?
work.
Yeah,
For
thanks.
me, and you know, you could. First of all, I want to say I didn't even consider looking at any other generations. I literally started with me. I'm like, what is my problem that
Period.
they gave me that I'm dealing with right now
Right. Fuck you now. Uh-huh.
that they should have dealt with before it got to me?
Right.
Um, and that is the strong woman trope
Ooh.
that I can do it. I can do bad all by myself.
Damn.
That. And when I actually do think about them, I can
Mhm.
see it. I'm like, wow, we've been fighting this for a minute.
Yeah.
Like, we don't really have many men in my family at all. And the ones
Mhm.
we did have, they died or ran away and then died. So
Damn.
um I didn't really grow up with that idea of support. And even when it came
Yeah.
to family as a unit, we would band together. Like if people were sick or kind of like if you needed something, we could be there. But like you really had to like be real bad, down and
Yeah.
out before that happened. So
Yeah.
I feel like this whole idea of like just being strong,
Mhm.
being quiet, and just enduring it
Mm.
and just feeling like you had to go out and get it and do it yourself. If you didn't do it yourself, it wasn't going to get done.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like I am tackling right now. That's
Yeah.
that's really impacting me because I'm realizing I can't do it alone,
Yeah.
nor should I, nor do I want to.
Mhm.
So I feel like I'm really challenging myself to develop vulnerability
Ooh.
and to reevaluate what I've been told and
Mhm.
to question this strong versus weak mentality. Like to say, like ask myself what I want. Do I want to be strong all the
Yeah.
time? And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I want ease.
Yeah.
You know, I want help,
Mhm.
and that not have to surrender. That surrender, like, I used to think everything was a fight
Yeah.
that, nobody was coming to help me. I
Oh.
still struggle with that.
Yeah.
That's my fight. Like in my messes, it's like I don't have a safety net. That's always what I say.
Yeah.
So just learning to be soft
Mhm.
and to step into like that feminine energy. So yeah, I would just say my generational curse is developing feminine energy, which is crazy because
Oh.
my my lineage, they're all women.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I don't know if I really got that feminine receiving energy from them
Mm. Mhm.
or that like I don't they would give that nurturing energy, but I don't ever think they allow themselves to receive.
Oh, got you. I got you.
So
Mm.
that's been the impact that
Wow.
and I
Wow.
still yeah.
It's really interesting because I think about our mothers and the things that they went through and the things that they just had to silently accept
Mm.
and the fact that they didn't have these kind of outlets, right? Or
Mhm.
maybe they had conversations, but how deep did they really go? You know, we have this. I feel like another product of our. I'm sorry. Were you finished? I just really came in
I
and started
mean,
talking a lot. Forgive me. Let me let you have the floor back, and then I'll go there.
I
Sorry.
I
Go
think
ahead.
I'm pretty much finished. I don't think there's
Okay.
anything else right now.
Okay. I think about even like the talking piece, how a lot of us were raised in this whole idea of like, don't tell nobody my business.
Yeah, yeah,
And that
definitely.
that was definitely traumas passed down because your business being what could that mean if somebody found out what was going on in your life and all those traumas and that affecting how people were able to process the things that they actually went through. There's some things that I think about my mom, and she told me a lot about her life, but not not a whole lot. You know, when I think about her entire life, I don't know all the things that she went through. Now, could I handle it? I don't know. Maybe she knew. Um, but I think about all the things that I've been through in my life, and I haven't reached her age yet. I have 10 years, and then I'll be where she was when she passed away. And I think about all the
Wow.
things that I've experienced and how if she experienced even half of what I experienced, I didn't know about it. You know, I didn't know all the things that she went through and how holding all of that in, what does that do to your body? What does that do to your mind? What does that do to your psyche? Um, and I don't know. It just makes me sad for our mothers, kind of.
Mm. You know, one thing I can say, kind of looking at the lineage, like I feel like my mom has probably gone through some things, but her mom went through some things, and it does seem like it's gotten easier.
That's good.
At least I can think of. But yeah, like you said, I there's not a whole lot that I know about her and what she went
Yeah.
through. Um, but I definitely knew she was independent,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I never saw her get help. And I think what I realized when because I feel like this generational trauma or curse or whatever, yeah, it was passed down, but it's very much our assignment that we were sent down here to tackle.
Hmm.
So no matter
Hmm.
what resentments or what feelings you have, it's kind of part of your purpose for being here.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
that's my personal belief.
Okay. I love that. Well, then
Yeah.
how do we cope? Are we there or do you
I
have other
was still
questions?
talking, ma'am.
I apologize. I'm so
I
sorry.
didn't even get to the point.
I apologize. The floor is yours.
I just say, like, in the way that, like, my mom kinda left this earth, like,
Hmm.
that's when I think I really saw that highlighted for me what the issue was,
Yeah.
because that lady did not ask for no help, and as a "Oh,
Oh,
am I still here?
you still here, but I don't know where your video went.
This is wild." So you still don't want me to talk, huh, lady?
Dang, she said,
Oh.
cut that out. Talk about my mess.
Oh, oh, oh,
Uh-oh.
oh,
Uh-oh.
oh. You can still hear me though, right?
I can still hear you, yeah.
That's wild. Let's try to see this. Let's see. Oh,
There we
damn.
go. Hey.
It's been doing that. Okay.
That's
Anyway,
crazy. Oh,
but yeah, seeing like kind of the way she departed, like she didn't ask for help, and and I didn't ask for help. I was following her lead, but I needed
yeah.
help,
Yeah.
and it just looked lonely.
Hmm.
And my mother was always strong, and I always wanted to make her proud. I always wanted to be strong like her.
Yeah.
But when I kind of saw it play out in the end,
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think this needs
I
to
don't
be
want that.
continued.
Yeah.
It didn't have to be like this for you, and it didn't
Yeah.
have to be like this for me, and I don't want this experience for anybody who's coming
Oof.
down my line.
Oof.
And it's
Yeah.
become a, like, personal mantra. I'm gonna be vulnerable no matter how uncomfortable it is, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
be honest, and I'm not gonna sit up here and stay in uncomfortable situations, and that was really just the unearthing of everything. So I do feel like I have to use my voice, and I have to let people know
Yeah.
what I think and tell my truth no matter how anybody feels about it. And that's probably
Yeah.
why I'm doing this podcast. Um
Absolutely.
that
That's sorry.
yeah. And I don't have to be strong all the time. I
Yeah.
can be a mess.
Period. I love that. You're absolutely right. That reminded me of my mom, when she left, I felt like it's because she was being a pleaser to everybody. She just did everything for everybody, and I admired that. And I started following in those footsteps, and just like you, I was like, this, I can't do this. I cannot continue this. What I'm about to say is a big old capital N-O. The answer is what? Say it with me, class.
No.
No. So yeah, you're right. You're right. But okay, is there other questions or should we get to the cope?
No, we can get to the cope now.
Okay. So for me, I cope by having these conversations so that I can see the flaws in my own logic. I cope by being open to correction and an opinion of how things should be done. I cope by acknowledging where I've been hurt and the coping mechanisms that I've used to be okay and fixing them in real time. And all in all, like always, I cope with grace and ease.
Mm. For me, I have definitely grace,
Hmm.
and surrender.
Oh,
So, which in that is vulnerability. Like I have to be vulnerable. That's what it
hmm,
is. Like my family, they're not vulnerable,
yeah.
and it's eating away at them,
Hmm.
and I feel for them,
Yeah.
and it's blocking pieces that can push us forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know what
Wow.
anybody else has been tasked with, but I feel strongly that this is mine. So I'm gonna just be a old soft ass bitch out here,
Period.
and that's fine.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. I think to recap this episode, generational traumas, especially in the Black community, is rampant. You know, it is our privilege to be able to acknowledge those and to work our way into being healthier. You know,
Mm,
we have the resources, we have the tools, we have the time. Give yourself the energy and give yourself the grace. Some of this is not, most of this is not something you asked for. It's not something that you put yourself in. You know, it's okay to recognize that this is a trauma that you are dealing with, but how are you going to let you be the end of the line of that trauma? How are we going to let the next generation be free of that? How are we going to let ourselves be free of that? We are more than capable of being the end, the stop. I am the stopping point for this particular set of traumas. If I were to raise kids, we're going to eat healthy. That's one thing I do know. I'm not going to beat them just because. I am not going to listen. This is
so
what
I'm
we
gonna
do
beat you for what reason?
with reason. I mean, I'm honestly, if I would have kids, I don't feel like I would want to put my hands on them at
I don't
all.
feel like you
If I'm
need
honest,
to.
I don't feel like you need to. But yeah. So all in all, it's about acknowledgement, right? You don't have to fix every single thing that has come down the pipeline. But if you feel so convicted, you are able to. You have space, you have the room, you have platforms, you have community of people who know what you're going through or who know what you've experienced. And it's okay to say, I need to be vulnerable. It's okay
Mm,
to say no. It's
mm,
okay to recognize that the traumas that you are dealing with are not your traumas.
mm,
Say this does not belong to me, so I'm going to sit it down.
mm, mm.
And that is the recap. I don't know if would you like to add anything else to that?
I do want to add something
Yeah.
because, yes, when it comes to these generational traumas or curses,
Hmm.
I just want people to know that you doing the work for yourself is enough.
Yeah,
Like, you're not responsible for your entire family. And I
absolutely.
know you may want the best for them and wish them this understanding. I think it's a very individual experience, and
Hmm.
just by you taking the steps to do what you need for you, it will ripple throughout your family. I feel like that's how it
Yes.
works. So you
Yes.
ain't got to fight to bring people along with you.
Yeah.
Like, they'll benefit. Just focus
Yeah.
on you, and it's okay to say no and keep some abundance for yourself,
Absolutely.
so that you're not lacking. You don't have to sacrifice. So that's just I don't feel compelled to say those things.
I love
It's
that.
we didn't directly touch on it, but just wanted to add it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. Do you have any shout outs for this episode?
Shout out to the lovely person who suggested this topic. Thank you. It's
Yeah.
something that I needed, and it's a great reminder for me to know what I'm working with
Yeah.
and what I need to work on, and something to keep sight of. So I'm really grateful for this topic. Thank you.
Yeah. And I was going to shout out the same person, my Shanny Boo. Thank you for putting this in. Also, I just want to shout out to people whose families are dysfunctional, who
Ooh,
you are the one who are stepping outside and saying, I'm going to do something different. Oftentimes, that feels very frightening
mm,
and it
mm,
feels very lonely and it feels a myriad of different ways, but you are okay. You
mm,
will be okay, and you are leading the way and forging a path that is new, that's going to be through the thick of it. You're the first one on this path, and it's okay. You will find your community, you will find your support, and you will find the love that you are desiring and are deserving of. So shout out to you for forging new paths in your families, in your friend group, for yourself. You are the shit. That's it. That's my shout out. Now, we are to my favorite portion, that is the meditation. What we do is take a couple breaths, we set an intention, take another couple breaths, and then I let you go about your day. What I want you to do for me now is to take a big deep breath. We'll take a second deep breath. And we'll take one more deep breath. And now we will set our intention. I intend to continue looking forward to being free of curses that don't belong to me.
mm, hmm. I intend to keep asking for help, keep being
Mhm.
vulnerable, keep telling myself the truth, and keep surrendering to the support of source.
I love
You
that.
know,
I
that's my
love that.
safety net. So yeah.
Ah, come on, safety net and source. I love that. All right, we're going to take our last set of breaths. Take another big deep breath with me. We'll take a second deep breath. And we'll take our last deep breath. All right, your intentions have been set for the day. Go out there and flourish, sis. Today doesn't have to be a mess.
But it's okay if it is.
So, Liz, y'all, thank you so much for tuning in again. We really appreciate your continued support. You guys are the shit. Shout out to you all for breaking these curses, finding new paths, forging new plans for yourselves. Um, and thank you for just continue to fuck with us. Were you gonna say something?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, if you guys have topic ideas that you would like to discuss with us, please email us at itsamesssis@gmail.com. If you are more of a social media person, get on over there to Instagram at It's a Mess Sis Podcast. On Facebook, it's also It's a Mess Sis Podcast. Twitter, It's a Mess Sis. On YouTube, It's a Mess Sis. Just search for us. Again, that's It's a Mess Sis at gmail.com. If you just want to say, hey, I fuck with y'all. I love this part. Talk about this. Can I be a guest? I forgot that one. If you would like to be a guest, please hit us up at itsamesssis at gmail.com. Is there anything else we need to let the people know, Rena?
Nope. That's so.
All right. Well, we're going to catch y'all on the flip side. Peace. It's a mess.
Hey, that's all I can do.
It's
I
a
can't
mess.
sing.
It's okay. He's gonna talk over my singing though. Okay, it's ready now.